Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, we decided to do a little something different for the holidays. We're going to talk about A Very Merry Christmas, available exclusively on Netflix. I'll also share my thoughts on Krampus, the latest horror comedy thriller, just in time for the family for the holidays. We'll tell you what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD, featuring streaming pick of the week, straight to DVD pick of the week, lots of fun stuff there. And then we'll wrap everything up with TFR Libs. It's our Mad Libs game, and a lot of fun stuff to talk about for that. But first, Matt, let's just get right into it. A Very Merry Christmas. So, briefly, Matt, kind of tell us what it's about. What's the whole point of this? What is this? I don't understand. What's going on?
That's a good question. I don't know if I can tell you what the whole point of this was. This is, I guess, a riff on kind of the 70s or holiday variety shows. Bill Murray plays a version of himself stuck in New York on Christmas Eve, has to do a live a variety show singing event, and nobody's shown up, and that's basically it. It's him kind of scrambling to come up with something while he is stuck in New York.
Excellent. Yes, I think that's a fit and apt description, and I think we're done. So, Matt, let me ask you. Bill Murray has kind of become an icon at this point, right? Now, let's be honest. There was a point, probably what, would you say the mid-'80s, when things weren't looking too good? He had made kind of a run of pretty much forgettable movies. Was Operation Dumbo Drop? Was that him? There was one movie he did with an elephant. There was The Man Who Knew Too Little. But every now and then he'd sprinkle in stuff like Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah.
Quick Change,
Garfield.
Which is interesting, but didn't really work. Yeah, Garfield. Good Lord, what a mess that was. So, but he's now, for the last, I'd say 10 years, probably basically since he's teamed up with Wes Anderson, I think is what we can really say. He's become kind of this mythic figure, right? In this country. There's this, just, some people attain this kind of iconic status and become just beloved, people that people still adore, like Bill Cosby, who really just, they maintain this kind of mythic status. Boy, would that really crush you if something horrible came out about Bill Murray? Like, I
don't know if the country could take it. It might split. It might collapse under its own weight.
That's true. So, let me ask you: do you think that this Very Merry Christmas, did this further the legend of Bill Murray for you? Did it fulfill everything you hoped it would be, or were you kind of like, all right? I mean, it wasn't Caddyshack 2, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't think this really adds anything to his legacy. It seemed like it was kind of like an ad-libbed phone-in to me. It's kind of what it was. I mean, it didn't really wow me at all. I was hoping for something a lot more cohesive and funny, and I don't think I really got that.
Now, I think that's a fair point. I think what you're saying is technically true, but emotionally wrong. I feel like...
Please, Chris, tell me how I'm wrong once again.
We need conflict for entertainment. How exciting is it when we always agree on stuff? But I'm not saying that just to disagree with you. I really liked it. I was expecting this kind of traditional throwback Rat Pack-esque kind of Christmas special, right? And there's pieces of that here. But I really I love the setup of it, the fact that he's dreading doing this because nobody's going to show up. Unfortunately, the Pope is not going to be able to sit next to Iggy Azalea, as how the kids say it nowadays. So I like the fact that it wasn't a more traditional kind of stage show, though we do eventually get there. And for me, it was glorious, I think, especially with George Clooney, who is, the man can do no wrong.
Yes.
So, but I think what it is, it has a real atmosphere and a real sense of, I felt, just kind of fun. Basically, Bill Murray and some friends just dicking around in front of a camera for about 45 minutes. And right. I'll tell you, that's something that appeals to me. It does. It's something that I'd be interested in watching. I had no issues with it. I think maybe, could it have been tightened up a little bit? Maybe a little more script? I mean, it says it was written. So, but I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think some of the stuff was really funny. I loved the first guest with Chris Rock, who was desperately trying to get out of there the entire time. I really enjoyed, like I said, the part with George Clooney. I'm telling you, Matt, the Santa Claus Wants Some Lovin' is joining my holiday rotation. That was probably my favorite part of the entire thing. I thought it was absolutely brilliant.
Right.
So, and it's got a bunch of great little guest moments. Everybody has kind of their little thing, and I don't know. I think it set the right atmosphere for what they were trying to do. I feel this kind of is like the closest we're going to get to those kind of Rat Pack moments nowadays. It kind of had that feel to me. And I want to stress this too. This is not a family show, all right? It's a little ribald humor, but there's a few F-bombs in this as well. So prepare yourself if you're going to watch this with the kids. But I got to tell you, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. And next up, I don't know if we can really even talk about it, but I will be checking out the Nick Offerman. Nick, excuse me. Now I'm blanking. Nick Offerman. His Yule Log holiday whiskey thing. Have you seen that?
No, I have not.
So it's basically just him sitting for 45 minutes in a chair next to a burning wood in the fireplace drinking whiskey.
That's it, huh?
That's it. That's all it is.
Very meta.
So I'm going to be watching that next. But I don't know.
Good.
I'm saddened that you didn't get the same kind of enjoyment out. It felt easy. It felt like just a bunch of friends getting together, and we just happened to have a camera on so we could watch it. And I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, I wanted more of the funny. I wanted something with a little more jokes. I agree. Santa Claus Wants Some Lovin', especially, was the absolute highlight of the entire hour, especially when the George Clooney pantomime was spot on. I knew you were gonna love that at the end. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just thought not a lot of jokes, a lot of songs, a lot of mediocre singing with some of the players, which is fine, I guess. It was inoffensive, but relatively. But I mean, inoffensive can also be a bad thing. It just was kind of bland for me.
Fair enough. I can appreciate that. I think my affection for Murray is probably what put it over the top for me. That pretty much for me, I think whatever he does is acceptable. I'm sure next year they'll do a special with him just reading phone names out of the phone book while Jingle Bells plays in the background. So let me ask you though about
those.
Let me ask you about that. Would you want to see this become like an annual tradition, having a new one every year, or even better yet, have this be like the launch of a new Bill Murray variety show?
What I would like to see, what I think could work is if they did kind of like a Bill Murray variety show, like every year, where he brought some other comedian in, some kind of, I don't know, legendary comedian to come in and kind of either do it with him or take over the reins, like a different person every year. I think that could work.
What do you mean, like he just introduces them?
Well, like he doesn't want to do it, and he like tricks Steve Martin into doing it. So I think that could be a decent holiday special. Whereas, and maybe somebody else down the next year.
No, I think that's horrible. Okay. if you had I don't know. For me, I would like to see him do a new one every year, but maybe change. You can change it up a little bit. Like I like the fact that for half of this thing, you're not doing the big Rockettes kind of sing and dance number. That it's him moving through this hotel or this theater and just basically getting into trouble and just trying to keep himself from going crazy, being snowed into this hotel. But yeah, I think I'd like to see one every year. I'm not sure how I feel about having a whole variety series based on it, but maybe an annual thing with him doing this would be fun, as long as Clooney comes back too.
So I think the bottom line is this is only for people who are really into Bill Murray, who idolize him. I think for everybody else, you can skip it, or for people of a certain generation, like our friend over here.
Is that an age joke?
Yes, it was. You got it, though. You got it.
All right. If you had a chance to see A Very Merry Christmas, and if you haven't, I think you should, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, some stuff coming out just in time for the holidays. One of the bigger releases, Mission Impossible 5, Rogue Nation being released. Not quite as good as Ghost Protocol, but still entertaining. That's getting released. If you get it at Best Buy, you get a Steelbook, and Target's got a little book, a bunch of stuff about the making of the movie, as well as a exclusive featurette on the stunts of the film. Includes commentary with the director Chris McQuarrie with Tom Cruise and a bunch of other featurettes. A film that I totally missed. I never saw it. Ted 2 is being released as well. I've heard middling things. Some people say it's really good. Other people say poor sequel, just trying to cash in. If you get it from Target, you get an exclusive Steelbook. Comes the Blu-ray DVD digital copy Ultraviolet, as well as did Mission Impossible. Deleted scenes, gag reel, and a commentary by Seth MacFarlane on that one. Another series I haven't watched, Maze Runner. I don't know. I think I'm all young adult booked out at this point.
Yeah.
But the Scorch Trials is being released as well. If you get it at Best Buy, there's a steelbook. Target has a photo diary, which I guess is what they're calling now. You know, they make those books you get where they have the making of, and they just have pictures from the making of the film. Well, Target's calling those photo diaries, and they seem to be putting them in all the releases now. And a bunch of behind-the-scenes featurettes on that includes some deleted and extended scenes and a gag reel. Here's the one you're waiting for. Also getting a Target photo diary edition, a Best Buy steelbook, possibly one of the greatest superhero films of all time. Yes, I am talking about Fantastic Four 2015.
Nice.
Finally. What a disaster of a film. Have you seen that?
No, and I plan on never seeing it.
Don't. Yeah, it's not even... No. It's not even fun. It's one of those things where it's so bad it's entertaining. Not even that. So it's just horrible. They've officially shelved the plans for a sequel. At one point they were still going to move forward, but now they've kind of said, you know what, let's pump the brakes on that one.
Well, that moves it one step closer to Spider-Man territory, which is, I guess, at least one good thing that came out of it.
That's true. Good point. Jess Franco's Marquis de Sade's Justine is being released. For fans of the exploitation stuff in Jess Franco's rather naughty work, you can finally pick up his Justine on Blu-ray. Includes a bonus CD where you get the original soundtrack for the film for those special nights, I guess. I don't know. Criterion is giving us Burroughs the Movie, which is a documentary put together back in 1983 that people had heard about but thought was lost. But they were able to find a copy of it. The director's nephew, Aaron Buchner, found a copy of it. So Criterion grabbed it, restored it, and they're releasing it on Blu-ray. So you're a fan of William S. Burroughs, you can check out what supposedly an awesome documentary is about the man from Criterion. They're also giving us Criterion a box set, Matt, of their Hitchcock outings, the ones they have now, which are The Man Who Knew Too Much, The 39 Steps, The Lady Vanishes, and Foreign Correspondent. So you can check out that Blu-ray set from Criterion for the holidays. And then, Matt, your straight to DVD pick of the week. Oh, this is a good one. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's called Bangin' Vengeance. I'm going to read this because I don't want to miss any of this incredible copy. Amber Rain, who I'm thinking might be an adult star, would do anything to be a star. But when her botched, bust-implanted boobs start talking, Amber learns that the road to success is paved in blood. Set in the seedy side of Las Vegas where everyone wants to make a buck, Amber takes revenge on all the men who wronged her. Lied to, abused, and scarred, Amber will have her vengeance. With her talking parts.
No, wasn't there another movie where a guy's dong talked to him or left or something?
We did that for the show originally.
Did we?
Yes, we did. It was called... I can't remember. I have to pull out the archives for that one. But it detached himself and went around killing people.
Okay, I remember doing Teeth. I don't remember doing that one.
Oh no, we did. It's in the archive.
Okay.
You should track it down and watch it sometime. It
must have really made an impression on me.
I don't see how it couldn't. I remember it, though I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, that was a weird movie. The halcyon days of the first run. So Matt, I'm going to talk to you briefly about Krampus.
Please do.
I was excited for this one. You know, it's from the guy who did Michael Dougherty, right? He did the Trick or Treat film, that horror film that sat on the shelf for years, which is the short stories that kind of all come together. So this is his next venture when a family gets together. The big family comes. You have the wife and the husband, and of course the sister of the wife and her husband, played by of course David Koechner. Adam Scott plays the husband, the father. Toni Collette, the wife. Allison Tolman from Fargo, from the first season of Fargo, plays Koechner's wife. By the way, a little aside, how good is second season of Fargo, huh?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Cow. It's way better than the first.
Yes. So the family gets together, and then grandma's there. She's an older German woman. That's an interesting slip. So an older German woman. And what happens is the family is fighting, so the little kid decides that he doesn't believe in the spirit of Christmas anymore. So he tears up his letter to Santa, which unfortunately brings Krampus, who is, if you're not familiar with the legend of Krampus, this is not an original thing. This is a well-known, I don't know how well-known it is, but old German horror fairy tale type thing, right? Where he's basically Santa's opposite number. He's Santa's shadow. So if you're bad, you don't get coal, Krampus comes for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Krampus rolling around. He's slowly picking people off in the neighborhood, and eventually he settles down on our family. And of course, all the horrible things that happen, the horrible shadow toys, right? You see the dolls and stuff, but they're evil, they're the crazy teeth, and they're killing everybody, and blah blah blah. So I was really excited about this film. I don't know, just the whole concept of it, I think, was really interesting. I'd love to see the Krampus thing. I think it's always it's a concept that's always interested me. Michael Dougherty, I like Trick or Treat, so I was curious to see what he does with this. I gotta tell you, it's okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it has some issues. There's long stretches of where nothing happens.
Okay.
And I know they're trying to kind of maybe set up the family dynamic, which is fine. The cast works well together. The funny stuff that's in it is okay. I laughed a few times when the theater was quiet, but that's because I have issues. It's built kind of as a horror comedy, but I gotta tell you, if you're looking for a Shaun of the Dead, this is not it. It doesn't have enough horror, and it doesn't have enough comedy. It's okay, but it doesn't really have enough to elevate it above anything really else. So for me, it was kind of a disappointment. Another thing I had with it, too, is that there's some real leaps in logic in this film. There's a lot of things that happen where they just don't make sense. There's just things you wouldn't do. Now, granted, I get the fact that we're talking about the evil, shadow side of Santa, so I really got to suspend my disbelief for some of this stuff. But still, I want people to make decisions that make sense. Let me give you a perfect example. The daughter of Adam Scott and Toni Collette have a boyfriend, and since the power's out all over the neighborhood because Krampus is here, there's a big blizzard blowing into town. You can't see more than you can't see the hand in front of your face. So she's worried, so she wants to go visit her boyfriend, which is a block down and a block over. And they're like, "Yeah, all right, go ahead." The mom expresses some concern, but Adam Scott's like, she'll be fine. Just be home by 5. Right? This is crazy blizzard that's knocked the power out. You let her go. And what the great part is now, I guess a lot of time passes because later on it's dark out. She's not there. She's not back yet. And Adam's like, I'm sure she's fine. She's probably with the boyfriend. Don't worry about it. It's just a lot of things that just don't make sense. You would never let the kid go in the first. I don't know. I think I'm maybe being a little too nitpicky out there. But I don't know. It's fine. It's solid. I think it needs some pruning. We could have tightened this thing up a little bit as well. For me, I got to admit, it was kind of reminiscent of Gremlins, only in the way that it was a family horror comedy, right? It's not like edge of your seat scares. It's not hilarious, but it's not as good as Gremlins, but it has that kind of feel to it. This almost 80s throwback horror comedy. Holiday special thing. So if you're in the mood for that, I would recommend it. I think there's enough there to entertain you. If I had to give it a letter grade, I'd probably lean towards like a B-. So I don't know. Would I buy it? I don't know. Unless you gave me an unrated version with like 20 minutes more of gore. I don't know. Maybe but that would be it. I got to tell you though, the creeped out toys were exceptionally well done. I thought those were really well done.
All right.
So, but that's about it. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say about it. It's fine. It was not as good as I'd hoped, so.
Faint praise indeed.
Yeah, if you've seen Krampus, shoot us an email. Maybe I'm wrong. I doubt it, but it's possible. Shoot me an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, did you see what's on Netflix? I haven't watched it yet. I want to check it out. Have you seen they have Electric Boogaloo on there? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I was just actually flipping through Netflix, and I did just see that. I am familiar with it.
So, you want to tell the folks at home what it is, or can we just move on so they have no idea what we're talking about?
Let's just move on. Let's keep them in the dark. It's about hold on, let me pull up the description here.
Well, basically, it's a documentary about Canon Films.
Okay. And
Canon Films in the 80s did a whole bunch of B-movie action movies. They also did Superman 4, a lot of Chuck Norris movies. So it's... I don't know. I've been wanting to see this documentary for a while, so I'm very excited to kind of check this thing out. So maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, this is like right. This is like right in your wheelhouse, right? I mean, these are like your films back when the video days, right?
For the most part, yeah. If you walked in the VHS store and you saw the cool action cover and the tape, this is pretty much what that's going to be. But I got to tell you, I haven't seen a lot of Chuck Norris movies. I haven't.
No, I haven't.
I never got into Chuck. I don't know why.
Me either. But I do see we got He-Man, we got some JCD. Now I did see a lot of JCD movies.
I did too. I saw a few of those. You know, also I've been watching a lot again recently. I don't know what it is. I just go through this thing where every like 6 months I have to watch like all the It's Always Sunny episodes again.
Oh, really?
I don't know what it is. Like just, and I've seen them so many times that it's kind of like, all right, now I just wait for the moments. Like for me, like one of the moments where the gang buys a boat. That episode in itself is okay, but there's this one brilliant scene when Mac and Dennis are in the boat shop. They're shopping for stuff, and Dennis goes through his whole thing about why the boat's so perfect because you get the ladies out in the open sea, and you don't know if they're going to sleep with you, but they kind of think, well, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm out here in the sea all by myself. He goes, I'm not saying I'm going to do anything, but it's the implication. You know, and Mac just looks at him. If you haven't seen it, it's well worth it just for that quick little 2-minute scene about Dennis explaining the implication. Is absolutely brilliant. God, I love that scene. Anyway, all right. So let's move on to the TFR Libs. Let's wrap this thing up. This is gonna be a nice tight 30 minutes at this point. This would be good.
Nice.
So TFR Libs, if we're not familiar with the Libs, this is basically our fill in the blank game. We're gonna present sentences to each other, and then we have to fill in the blank. So how many do you have, Matt? I came up with 4 just in case we had any repeats. What about you?
I only got 2.
Oh, then I guess I'll go first. That answers that, huh?
Yeah.
All right, Matt, let me ask you. Boy, In the Heart of the Sea looks blank. And that's and now, if you're not familiar, that's the Ron Howard Moby Dick whale movie with Thor.
Yeah. I'm going to say In the Heart of the Sea looks tedious. I am not sold on this film at all. Is it going to be another one that, based on whatever the reviews say, or even you who may end up seeing this,
Nope.
I'm going to end up catching it someday, like 2 years from now, like on HBO or something. That's probably what's going to happen. I have no interest in seeing this.
That's my issue too as well. I don't have an ounce of interest in seeing this. This next week, I'm going to go check out Spotlight, the film that is garnering rave reviews about the Catholic Church pedophile scandal. So I have no desire to see In the Heart of the Sea. Currently sitting at a robust 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what it is. It does not interest me. You know, it's funny. I feel like Hollywood has been pushing this movie on me for like a year.
Yeah.
At least this last 6 months, every movie I go see has this trailer on it. Every one. And I'm telling you, I have no interest in seeing it. So for me, that's the same way. In the Heart of the Sea just looks dull. I don't know. There's nothing about it that seems to hold any interest for me, and I feel bad. I like Ron Howard as a director. He's never he's fine, but I don't know what it is. I can't get behind the film. I don't know. And they're expecting really disappointing box office returns. They are not looking for. They don't think it's going to be good at all.
Well, you know, I mean, the public knows, right? So what are you going to do?
Yep.
It's not going to be good.
That's what you got.
All right, so there's a couple new trailers out, and I think we're going to end up talking about both of them. But I'll go ahead and lead off with this one. Mm-hmm. So there's a new entry in a very popular franchise. And I'm sure you're talking about it. You know what I'm talking about. It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This has Laura Linney in it. Has a whole slew of...
What is that about?
I know. So, I've seen people actually getting relatively stoked for this. Will Arnett, so my question to you, or fill in the blank here, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just might be blank.
A long-running franchise, which pains me to say. I didn't even see the newest one. I didn't see it, and I haven't seen the trailer for part 2 either.
Okay.
The trailer for the first one it didn't appeal to me at all, and I'm not even in a how can you ruin my childhood blah 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 crap kind of way. It wasn't even that. I'm past that. Maybe I liked the cartoon when I was a kid. I remember the arcade game fondly. The one on my Nintendo I liked a lot, but no, I just don't. It's fine. I think it's just one of those things where I have this conversation with my significant other all the time where I do this. And if you're not watching the video stream, me raising my fists, which has become symbolic of you kids get off my lawn. Right. And I feel like maybe this is one of those moments, where you kids got to turn down that horrible music. That maybe this has surpassed me as I get more and more excited for Star Wars and Superman versus Batman. But still, I think, yeah, I don't. It'll probably, you know what? I guess it's going to be a big franchise. Unfortunately, people don't seem to care about quality so much as they do spectacle. So
Yeah.
there's a big surprise. So what's your answer?
I'm just gonna say, just might be unwatchable. And here's the thing. I mean, it's definitely got that Michael Bay stank like all over it. You know, it's got the visuals and the kind of. He didn't direct this, but it just reminds me so much of Transformers, and those things were bad to start off with, and they've been diminishing returns since. So I think you're right. If this thing, I'm surprised it did as well as it did to earn a sequel. But I mean, the effects are bad. The dialogue is cheesy. The action scenes look hackneyed. And to be honest with you, I mean, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was never. I mean, it was a big deal back in the '80s, but it was never that great to begin with. I mean, it is, you watch it now, it is kind of dumb. Like, whereas at least Transformers had some redeeming qualities if you go back and watch some of that original stuff now, whereas I don't think the Turtles ever did. So I'm actually amazed it got a sequel. I can't believe it made enough money to warrant a sequel, and I'm actually a little sad for the state of the country because of that.
It really is the downfall. It's horrible. Trump #1, and
Yep.
yeah. So let me ask you, speaking of which, how crazy, do you find it as weird and as disconcerting as I do that Michael Bay is doing a Benghazi movie? That he's directing that 13 Hours of Secret Soldiers of Benghazi? For him to do a film about a subject that's, for some reason, that is so controversial in this country for apparently, then you're going to have the guy who did Transformers and Bad Boys to be directing something? When
The Rock.
Was Catherine Bigelow not available? I mean, I understand why she wouldn't want to do another war film kind of thing, but I think there'd be more esteemed directors that could lend a better voice to such an important story. I don't know. I saw that when I saw the trailer and I saw director Michael Bay, I was like, are you kidding me? But all right, whatever. Let me ask you, Matt.
Yeah.
The Hateful Eight 70mm Roadshow will have a blank impact on the fate of physical film.
It will have a minimal impact on the state of 70mm film or physical film. It's something that's kind of a cool gimmick. I know people are really into it as a cinephile, but they're hard to find places that screen it. It's hard to store it and keep it looking good over the long run. It's tough to find the equipment and to find people who know how to use it. While it's something I'm really interested in seeing, I think it's not going to be anything more than a gimmick. I think digital IMAX kind of stuff is still going to be around for the long haul.
I know that people are dedicated to it. Paul Thomas Anderson, Christopher Nolan, Tarantino, obviously. I think, unfortunately, you're probably right. It's not going to be enough to carry it on. I think there will be the acolytes who still do it, who'll still work in that venue. But I think it's kind of one of those last gasps, right before you put it down. And I think it's horrible. I am desperate to see the Hateful Eight on 70mm. It's going to be 8 minutes longer. It's going to have an intermission or an overture. And supposedly Tarantino says he's not releasing this version of it on home video, let alone in the theaters, outside of the 70mm presentations. So I ran a movie theater for a while, and I actually did some projection, and it's not easy, to thread the projector, and then what if something rips? You have to tape it and put it back together. It's an art, it really is, and I miss doing it. But I don't know. It just pains me that this is probably just kind of the death knell. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe Nolan and all of them will keep churning this stuff out and keep it alive. But like you said, it's costing the theaters, what, 60, 70, 80 grand if they want to exhibit it?
Yeah.
Exhibit, whatever the hell it is. I'm getting tired. Exhibit the damn film. And a lot of them don't even have the equipment to do it. I guess some of them had to bring in stuff to set them up.
Right.
It's just the old platter stuff. It's gone away, and that's just too bad. I don't know. Hopefully they'll have one near Tampa. Are you gonna make a trip? Like, if I was still in Connecticut, I would make a trip to New York to go see it.
I don't know if I'll go that far. I mean, I would stay within, if it comes within somewhere within the bounds of the state. So like if it was down in New Haven or something, I would probably go, but I just can't see myself driving 3 hours, or even 2.5 hours to Boston.
Yeah. Okay. I would go. My limit's going to be Miami, which is about 4 hours away.
That's hardcore. I commend you in your dedication there, Chief.
We'll see what happens. You got another one for me?
Yeah, one more. All right. So another new trailer, as I alluded to here. So have you seen the new X-Men Apocalypse trailer?
That's one of mine as well, so we'll check it off the list. Yes, indeed, I have.
All right. So this is my question. So I'll be honest with you, I was a little underwhelmed with this. I was kind of like, I don't know about this, but we'll see. I mean, so this is my question to you.
Yeah.
There will be blank more X-Men movies before they just scrap the whole thing and reboot the entire series.
I say there will be. I'm gonna say though. You know what? I don't think this thing's gonna tank. I think it's gonna be a hit. That's my thing. I think it's gonna be fine. It's yeah. I don't know if the film itself is gonna be any good. I'm a little nervous about that. I got to tell you, that trailer, I found it underwhelming.
Yeah.
And I still think that the character design of Apocalypse with Oscar Isaacs is a disaster. I don't know. I don't quite understand how cosplay can get that right, but they can't get it right for this film.
So you would rather him have a giant capital A on his belt?
Maybe not that. That's a fair point. But the face with the mask or whatever it is, how it, you know what I'm saying, the helmet or whatever, the skull cap he wears or whatever, and how big he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, to answer your question, I don't think it's going to happen. I think that Fox is going to hold on to this franchise. I don't see, unless Disney just says, you know what, here's $1 trillion, give us the rights back. But because and I'm telling you, Marvel and Disney know they're not going anywhere. They're not going to get anywhere near it too, right? That's why they're developing this whole Inhumans thing on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's, I don't know. I don't see it ending. So I'll just say we'll see another 4 or 5 films probably. But then I don't know what's left storyline wise. I guess you can always come up with original stuff. What a concept!
Yeah,
they've already done Days of Future Past. This is Age of Apocalypse. So what else would you do? I guess there's tons. There's Fall of the Mutants, right? There's
you could do House of M.
I'd love them to do Grant Morrison's run. I think it was the last time the X-Men was really good was Grant Morrison's run. And of course they blew up the whole thing.
Yeah.
After what he did. So stupid. Anyway.
I don't know. I'm gonna say I would be surprised. And here's the thing. I'm not saying Fox gets rid of the X-Men because I don't see that it'll ever happen. But I think I don't know, maybe 2. Maybe this one. And you've got Old Man Logan coming up. If this thing is overwhelming or underwhelming, I could see them just scrapping all the actors and just starting over with a new set of, kind of just wiping the continuity slate clean and just going from there.
Just rebooting the whole thing?
Yeah.
I think what makes the most sense for them to do is just to split it. Yeah. Just team up, split the profits down the middle, call it a day. Split the cost to make it, split the money, bring everything together, and then do an X-Men vs. Avengers thing. And everybody goes home with $1 trillion each. You know, it'd be huge. And I think that's the key to this. In the end, cash is king, right? So I think that's why I think they'll come together eventually. Now that I think about it.
I hope so.
So there you go. All right. So then my Age of Apocalypse was after watching the trailer, I feel blank about the movie. I think we both were underwhelmed. So
yes,
we'll see. All right. Well, here it is. Since we're a week away, I had to go with it. And it's very open-ended, so you can answer this however you want. Star Wars: The Force Awakens will be a blank.
Oh, man. That's very tough.
Will it be an unmitigated disaster, Matt? Will nobody go to the theater? No. I know they've sold over $50-some-odd million in pre-sales, but I'll bet you everybody returns those and decides not to go. Who wants to see this?
Boycott?
Exactly. Who cares anyway? If George Lucas is not involved, I don't want to see it, right? I don't care that no one's going to go to this screening where they're showing every single one of the movies. It starts at 10 o'clock at night and runs for an entire day.
Ugh, that sounds awful.
Could you imagine?
And how could you watch those first 3? Those first 3 are so bad.
And the problem is you have to go because if you don't, you're going to get a crappy seat. If you show up for the final, the original trilogy, you're going to be sitting in the front row. You can't not go. Mm-hmm. You have to be in the beginning of that's pod racing. You have to go.
Woohoo! Yippee! Whatever the hell it is he says. God, I want to strangle that kid. know what would be hilarious, and I know this is off topic. I thought it would be absolutely hilarious if George Lucas, with his however many billions he got from Disney, went and just bought all of those himself, all those tickets. He's just sitting on $50 million worth of tickets and nobody shows up.
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah. He'd be like, suck it. You know what? I think it'll be a return to form. I think it'll be a return to form, is that it'll be a fun movie. I think people will be excited for it. I think it'll be better acted, better written. My only concern is I'm really curious to see if it's still going to feel like Star Wars, or if it's going to be, a little more grim without George Lucas. I mean, obviously we saw what he did with those first prequels, and I'm an unabashed hater of those movies. I cannot stand them
Even
at
the third
all.
one?
But even the third one, it has some good ideas. I had some high hopes for it, but just the execution of a lot of it was just so melodramatic and just bad, and just even like he goes from, being upset that he caused the death of Mace Windu, sort of, and a kind of, to literally executing children within like a day of like time. So I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah, totally.
Totally,
that film is a mess. Yeah,
yeah.
Christensen's his thing is all over the place in that film. I don't blame him though. Really, I don't.
Well, yeah, it's what you got to work with, I suppose. They should have just stretched that into 3 films, is what they should have done.
Yeah. Oh, horrible. I don't know. All right. So what was your final thing then? I don't remember what you said now.
I think it'll be a return to form.
Return to form. That's right.
It'll be a return to form, but we'll see. But I'm curious to see if it's really going to still feel like Star Wars. Because I mean, J.J. Abrams, like, we enjoyed the Star Trek, but those don't feel like Star Trek. So it'll be interesting to see what it comes out with. Here's
the thing I say to that, though, is that Abrams was never a Star Trek fan.
True.
He's a Star Wars guy. He was a fanboy. So I think I don't have any concerns about that. For me, I'm going to say Star Wars Force Awakens will be the biggest film of all time.
Wow, of all time. Huh?
Not adjusted for inflation.
Okay.
But I think it will surpass Avatar in ticket sales. I think it's going to have... You got the IMAX 3D screenings. You're going to have repeat viewings out the butt. I think the film will have a Rotten Tomatoes score. I want you to call this, too, with me. But I think the thing will have a Rotten Tomatoes score. I'm going to say 86%. I think this is going to be a huge film. It's going to... I mean, it's already made more in its pre-sales than some films have made their entire spans. And I'm talking big films too, not just like, stuff like Spotlight, which currently is only sitting around 3 million. I mean, there's some films that never clear $50 million that are supposed to be large. Creed's only made 15 million.
Right.
I mean, it's Star Wars has already almost tripled that, and that thing hasn't even come out yet.
Right.
So I think it's going to be massive. I think it's going to be great. My only concern is the fact that I have no experience with Daisy Ridley. I don't know how that's going to work out. John Boyega, I've only know from Attack the Block, which was, 6-7 years ago at this point.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm confident, though. I've never been probably more blindly excited for a film. Probably since Dark Knight Returns. The Dark Knight Rises, excuse me. Now, granted, that was a little disappointing, but I feel, I don't know, you just get, I don't know, every now and then you kind of get a feel for the pulse of something. You just kind of feel how, and I think this thing is going to be immense and fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely huge, but I'll be interested to see we're going to get basically a Star Wars film now every year for like the next 7 or 8 years. And I'm wondering if people are going to start to get burned out on this, because I think everybody's in such a tizzy because it's been however long it's been since the last one came out, and it left such a bad taste in so many people's mouth. They want to see it done right, but if these start to be good, I'm wondering how much the diminishing returns are going to be, if people are going to be able to maintain this kind of like frothing excitement for these movies to come out.
The last film came out 10 years ago. It's been 10 years since Revenge of the Sith came out.
Man, my life is flashing by.
I know, tell me about it. So I think it's an interesting point you raised, though, about all the side films too. So there's 3 films of this new trilogy.
Right.
There's going to be side films every year. You're right. There's a Boba Fett film. There's a Han Solo tween film or whatever it is.
Yep.
So
yeah, Rogue One comes out next year.
Yep.
Or Rogue Squadron, whatever it is. Yeah, that comes out next year. We're gonna have another Star Wars film.
Interesting.
They're taking the Marvel blueprint and running with it. That's for damn sure.
I'm just excited because the people they have involved so far, they're all people that I feel good about. Ryan Johnson, who's going to direct the next two, right? Or at least the next one. Who did one of my favorite films of all time, Brick, and then Looper, which is really good. Brothers Bloom, solid. So I think it's what the key to this is they're lining up the people who have the compassion and the love for the project.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. So what's your RT score? What are you giving? I said 86%. What do you think it's going to end up at?
Yeah, I'm going to go a little higher. I was thinking probably like 88, 89%, I think, 88%. I think people are really going to like it. I think people are really going to get super excited for it.
Interesting. So, interesting. I'll have to see what happens. Let me ask you another off topic too. I saw this on Reddit the other day, and I thought this was interesting. And unfortunately, I don't remember the guy who posted it, the name of the poster. But Avatar, unadjusted for inflation, is the #1 selling film of all time.
Right.
But it didn't have any real lasting cultural impact outside of the 3D effects.
Right.
No one's still talking about Avatar.
Right.
But it was still, I think it's that odd that it did that much business, but nobody really talks about it. He's still, Cameron's still, I guess, making those films, but there's no juice for it, right? Are you excited for the next Avatar film?
No. I mean, what's funny is that Avatar's its entire cultural cachet is that it's kind of a punchline, just how everybody realizes how bad it kind of is as far from a story and an acting and all that. I mean, I didn't see it, and tellingly, I didn't see it in 3D, which must have been a huge mistake because without watching it in 3D, it is a really mediocre, cheesy sci-fi film. It's not good.
Well, it's got my boy Sam Worthington in it, so you think I would have been more excited about that.
If I was a movie producer, Chris, I would get a movie. I would create a movie with Sam Worthington and Jay Courtney together, and it would be your favorite movie.
It'd be the blandest film ever made.
That's right.
It'd be like if Vanilla could be a movie.
That's right. It would be like a waiting for Godot, where they're just sitting around eating like mayonnaise sandwiches on Wonder Bread while they also sip vanilla milkshakes. That would be it.
I think that's it. I'm still not convinced they're not the same person. You've never seen them, together, so I think there's something to that. God, Sam Worthington and Jay Courtney.
It's too bad because I forgot that Jay Courtney was in Spartacus, and I like Spartacus. Yeah. That was a pretty good show. It's too bad. But he wasn't very good in that either. So there you go.
I'm sure he wasn't. Oh, Jay Courtney, will you ever cross the Tatum line? I somehow doubt that. All right. Well, I'm assuming so. Next week we're going to be talking about Spotlight, and Matt will have to come up with something else on Netflix or something we can check out together.
Yep.
Then
it's the big one.
Then it's game on.
That's right.
That's
right.
Right there. Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and then we'll go from there. So in the meantime, shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun.com. Check us out on YouTube to watch the live stream of the show. We're on Twitter or on Facebook as well. There's actually even an Instagram page, which I guess you're not allowed to post pictures of your area, which is news to me.
Really? So, when did that happen?
Yeah, they start taking that stuff down right away.
Oh, that's too bad.
I've heard. So that's the big show for this week. We're going to take an extended break, and we'll see you all in a week. Take care.
See you next week.
We have spent $40 million on a live TV show. You guys have got an ad with America's favorite old fart reading a book in front of a fireplace. Now, I have to kill all of you.